looks as though we are live and recording.
Great.
We're ready. I'm sorry, Susan. We're ready to go. Julie?
We
Yes,
are, Joe.
finished.
All right, everybody set? Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to the City of Albany Industrial Development Agency Board Meeting of March 18th. The time is 12:17 and we will begin by noting that all members of the board are present with the exception of Tracy Metzger and Anthony Gatti, who are excused. We'll begin with a review of the board meeting minutes of February 18th. Given that the minutes were previously distributed, may I please have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Bob. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Could we now please have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 18th meeting?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Bob. Thank you, Darius. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion is approved. The minutes of the board meeting of February 18th are passed. We'll move to the report of the Chief Financial Officer. Mark?
Thanks, Susan. So far, the month of February, as you can see in the report, we did receive administrative and modification fees. Only other revenue received in February was interest income. And the expenses listed in miscellaneous were approved by the board as part of the 2021 budget. We have projected revenues for the projects that are anticipating closing through the rest of the year at this point. And with that, we're projecting ending cash to be approximately $2.96 million.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions or comments on the financial report? If none, we will move into.
Susan, I think,
yeah.
Sorry, I would just note, as Mark mentioned, there were closings that were anticipated in 2020. Again, given the effects of COVID-19, we know that some of those have slowed. We do anticipate a number of those to come through in 2021 and sort of get us back to even keel. So you'll see that flowing through the financial reports and audits that you're about to see as well. And we're hopeful for a brighter 2021 on the project front.
Great, thank you, Sarah. All right, then we'll move into unfinished business, beginning with the lofts at Pine Hills. If we could have a motion to put the project synopsis on the table, we will have a review by Andy. Could we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Bob. Second?
Second.
Okay. Andy, can you walk us through the project? And I believe we also have a representative of the applicant here in case any board members have further questions.
Absolutely. So as you noted, there are multiple project representatives here with us today. I'd also like to note that this project has been discussed and reviewed in depth at previous finance committee meetings, and a public hearing was also held at the last finance committee meeting. I'll give a very brief description. The project proposes to construct a 124,300 square foot, 5-story mixed-use residential commercial retail structure containing approximately 97 market rate apartment units and 6,000 square feet of commercial retail space. The 1.6 acre project site, which currently houses 11 vacant structures that will be demolished, will also include 99 off-street parking spaces.
Thank you, Andy. We have reviewed this project at a number of previous meetings. Are there any further questions, though, since we do have representatives of the applicant here? Okay, if not, we'll move into our first resolution, which is the seeker resolution. This is a resolution confirming seeker determination for the lofts at Pine Hills LLC project. A resolution concurring in the determination by the City of Albany Planning Board as lead agency for the environmental review of the lofts at Pine Hills LLC proposed project. Can we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Bob. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Darius. Any further discussion? If not, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
I just have one thing to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think this is a great project, urban infill development. It's one of the reasons why we're here doing what we do.
Absolutely.
Here, here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. The next resolution affiliated with this project is commercial retail findings resolution for the Lofts at Pine Hills LLC project. This is a resolution determining that the proposed Lofts at Pine Hills LLC project is a commercial project, making certain findings required under the general municipal law. Can we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank
I'll
you, Bob.
second.
Second, Darius. Any further comment on this or questions for this resolution? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. The next resolution is a pilot deviation approval resolution for the Lofts at Pine Hills LLC project. This is a resolution authorizing a deviation from the agency's uniform tax exemption policy in connection with the proposed payment in lieu of tax agreement to be entered into by the agency in connection with the proposed project for the Lofts at Pine Hills LLC. Can we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Bob. Second,
I'll second.
Darius. Any further discussion or questions on this resolution?
Can
If
I
not,
just note for the record
Yes,
that as has been the habit for the last several years, staff is doing an exceptionally good job of helping the board take a look at all of the reasons that we're doing these pilot deviations. And I just want to commend them again for outlining all of the important reasons that a deviation from this pilot makes sense.
Thank you, Bob. Duly noted. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. The final resolution is an approving resolution for the Lofts at Pine Hills LLC project. This is a resolution authorizing execution of documents in connection with a leaseback transaction for a project for the Lofts at Pine Hills LLC. Can we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
I guess I'll second.
All right. Any further comments or discussion on this resolution? Okay, if none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolution carries. Thank you again to staff and the many people who have worked on this project. It really is going to be a boon for the city of Albany.
I seem particularly enthusiastic. It's because of having this in my neighborhood. So thank you so much for the investment.
Very good. And we did have other positive comments as well from members of the neighborhood. So this will be a welcome addition to the neighborhood. Thank you. All right, we will move on to 413 North Pearl Street. Can we have a motion to put the project synopsis on the table so that we can further discuss this?
So moved.
Motion. Thank you. And Andy, if you can go ahead and address this project. I believe we again have representation of the applicant here if anyone has further questions. Andy.
That's correct. And again, noting for the record that this project has been reviewed in depth and discussed at previous finance committee meetings, as well as a public hearing being held at the finance committee meeting prior to the finance committee meeting last week. This project involves the historic redevelopment of approximately 90,000 square foot structure in the warehouse district into 80 market rate residential apartments and approximately 13,500 square feet of retail space. The project will also include 54 off-street parking spaces. Also noting for the record that the request at hand involves only a sales and mortgage recording tax exemption.
Great, thank you. Do we have any general questions regarding the synopsis for Andy or representatives of the project? If not, we have 3 resolutions in conjunction with this project. The first is a seeker resolution for 413 North Pearl Street Associates. This is a resolution determining that action to undertake a project for the benefit of 413 North Pearl Street Associates LLC is a type 2 action, and no further action is required under SECREF with respect thereto. Can we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion on this particular resolution?
Only that this is another great urban redevelopment project.
Thank you, Darius. Okay, we will call for a vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? If none, the motion carries. The second resolution is a commercial retail findings resolution for 413 North Pearl Street Associates LLC project. This is a resolution determining that the proposed 413 North Pearl Associates LLC project is a commercial project and makes certain findings required under the general municipal law. Can we have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on this resolution? If none, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. The final resolution with regard to this project is the approving resolution of 413 North Pearl Street Associate LLC project. This is a resolution authorizing execution of documents in connection with a leaseback transaction for a project for 413 North Pearl Street Associates LLC. Can we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Darius. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Lloyd. Any discussion or comments on this final resolution for this project? If none, we'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion and the project carry. Thank you for all your good work on this. That's great.
Thank you, everybody.
Forward. Good luck. All right, any other unfinished business? If none, we'll move into new business, beginning with 745 Broadway Apartments LLC. Andy, actually, can we take a motion to put the resolution designating the company on the table?
So moved.
Thank you, Darius.
Carl,
Can we have a
second.
second, please? And then we'll have some discussion.
Second.
Thank you, Lloyd. Andy, can you walk us through this motion, which involves a change of ownership? And we also, again, have the project representative here if any board members have any questions or discussion. Go ahead, Andy.
Thank you, Chair. As a refresher, this project was approved by the board in October of 2020. It's approximately a $23 million new construction project that will build a 99,000 square foot residential market rate apartment complex with approximately 80 apartments. The request at hand is strictly administrative in nature. There are no new funds or means of assistance being requested, and it involves the change in both the ownership percentage and the voting rights percentage that was originally contemplated as part of the application. And with that, I see that we have at least one representative of the applicant with us, and I'll turn it over to the applicant and counsel.
Thank you. Mark?
I didn't know I had a speaking role.
You are welcome to have a speaking role if you'd like.
So what we're doing is transferring part of the ownership of the entity. I will still be involved. However, Norm Nichols, who was the prior partner on the project, and so, part owner of Broadway 915 LLC, the original applicant, has a conflict with one of the new owners. Norm works for Key Bank and does a lot of business through Key Bank with Mark Rosen, who is the new equity partner in the project. And therefore, Norm, much to his chagrin, cannot be partners with Mark and is going to need to be, taken out from the project as we close it.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Those impromptu remarks were helpful in understanding these changes. Does anybody have any further questions for the project applicant or comments?
This isn't a sale of the property. It's the ownership is changing slightly. Is that what I understand?
Correct. It's not a sale of the property.
Joe, do you want to jump in with
Yeah.
with sort of why we're doing this action? That's great.
Yeah, but Vice Chair, if I could just jump in and as Andy indicated, this is an administrative action. We got an application from Company A. There's been some changes with Company A, as Mark indicated. What we want to do is make sure our records conform to the facts. Our public hearing notice does provide for flexibility with respect to the entity owning and operating. There's an assignment clause in the public hearing notice, and we've received updates to the application reflecting the change in the company name and the change in the corporate structure, the ownership structure. And so what we're doing is formally approving those changes so that our files all reflect correctly what the status of the matter is. As Andy indicated, there's no change in the scope of the project. There's no change in the scope of the benefit.
You went on mute, Joe.
All of that is static and unchanged. But what we're doing is making sure that our paperwork all lines up.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Joe, Sarah, I was just trying to go back and pull up the original materials. Is it under Broadway 915?
Yes.
I'm not
Yeah.
finding it on the website.
I think it was originally 745 Broadway. Bob, you might find it under,
Yeah, I looked under both. That's why I'm,
yeah.
Anyway, okay, no worries. I just wanted to take a look, but figure it out.
We'll take care of that. We're going through an audit right now of the project index to make sure that everything's up there. And there are a couple that are missing that we're getting taken care of. We'll add them to the list. Great.
All right, any further comments or questions? If not, we have the motion on the table already. This is a resolution designating company Broadway 915 LLC, 745 Broadway Apartments LLC project. It is a resolution designating 745 Broadway Apartments LLC as a company with respect to a commercial project. And we have the motion on the table already, so we'll move straight to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Darius, was that in favor or in opposition vote?
I'm aye.
In favor,
Aye.
okay. So all were in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, our second item under new business is 720 Broadway, Albany LLC. Can we have a motion to put this on the table, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Darius. Can we have a
Second.
second? Who was that?
Lee.
Thank you, Lee.
Second.
We have the motion on the table for 420 Broadway. Andy and Joe, can you tell us about the resolution authorizing permanent financing for this project?
Sure. And I'll jump in first before
Sarah.
Andy takes over. I'd like to one disclose that Capitalize Albany Corporation does have a current loan on the property. We have reviewed that matter with council and determined that there is not a conflict that is would result in staff or overlapping board members needing to recuse themselves from the matter. Joe, I think you are recommending abstention for any overlapping board members on the vote if possible, out of an abundance of caution.
That's correct, Sarah. That's been our procedure. Routinely, we do that, and that's what I would recommend on this also.
Okay, thank you.
In that case, Joe, should I be also deferring on calling for the motion and receiving the
can do-
resolution? I can still
you
call
can- you
for
can-
it. I just
yeah, you-
won't vote. very good.
Well,
Thank you for that.
you will abstain.
Yes,
So
got it.
you'll vote, but you'll abstain, correct?
Okay. All
And with
right.
that, turn the administrative item over to Andy. Thanks.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I'd like to note that there are project representatives here with us today that can answer any questions. And again, as a refresher on the project, this project was approved by the board in April of 2018 and closed with the agency in December of 2019. It was an approximate $1.4 million redevelopment, mixed-use redevelopment project at 420 Broadway that consisted of the installation of 7 market rate apartment units and 1,900 square feet of retail space. The request at hand involves the conversion of a construction loan to a permanent loan. Additionally, there is a mortgage recording tax exemption involved with this request, but it is in line with what was originally contemplated as part of the application. With that, I will turn it over to council and project representatives if there are any questions.
I'll just add to what Andy said is that what perhaps differentiates this from other projects that we've done is that the project applicant did construction financing and is now doing permanent financing. So there's in effect 2 loans, one after another, the first loan being paid off upon completion of construction and then moving into permanent. So there's 2 financings, if you will, but the financings are related and in effect are compressed into one financing for the project. This is not a refinancing occurring 5 years after completion where we do not, I repeat, do not extend mortgage recording tax exemptions for that situation. This is all related to the original project. And with that, I'll pass it back to you, Vice Chair, for any further comments from the board members.
Thank you for that explanation, Joe. Anyone else have questions or comments on this? If not, the resolution is already on the table. This is a resolution authorizing permanent financing for 420 Broadway, Albany LLC project. It is a resolution authorizing the execution by the City of Albany Industrial Development Agency of a certain mortgage and related documents in connection with the 420 Broadway, Albany LLC project. I will call for a vote on this resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I will be abstaining because of my membership on Capitalize Albany Corporation, and the motion passes. Thank you, everybody.
And
All
sorry,
right, yes,
Susan, I just wanted to be clear that we did have 4 votes there, right? Bob, you voted yes? Okay.
yes, we did.
Aye.
Great. We will move then into our annual reporting and the resolutions associated with our annual reporting, beginning with a review and acceptance of the draft 2020 financial statements and audit results. We have received a clean audit report from Tilbacher Tremonte. We again had Emily Salango and Nate Panucci working on this from Tilbacher Tremonte, with Catherine Doran as the lead shareholder. The audit committee has thoroughly reviewed the audit report, statements and notes. We had very few no causes for concern, really. There are notes, however, regarding the COVID situation and the ability of Tilbacher Tremonte to audit and report in a difficult year like this. We are also implementing a few new accounting standards that did come into being within the last several years. And so these are fairly new implementations. You'll see some notes regarding those in the report by Tilbacher Tremonte. Mark, can you flesh that out a little further?
Sure, Vice Chair. So as Sarah mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, the net loss isn't reflective of the actual business and approvals that were done with staff and the board throughout 2020. We projected a lot of those closings to happen in 2020, but due to the situation with COVID-19, a lot of those projects did get pushed to 2021. And that is reflective in the MD&A of the financial statements where you see future operations. All those projects that were approved that are expected to now close this year are listed there. In one note, on note 6 of the financial statements, which notes about the bonds outstanding, that number is now finalized in this version of the financial statements. As you know, that they pretty much the day of the audit committee, they finally Teal Becker received their final confirmation. So that number is now the official outstanding number for 2021. And as the vice chair mentioned, we did receive an unqualified opinion, which is the highest opinion an auditor could give financial statements.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions on the audited financial statements? All right, and do we need an approving resolution of this, I take it? All right, I don't think we took a motion on this, so let's take a motion.
I'll move for approval.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Madam Chair,
Thank
before we call that question, can I just ask a quick question of council?
Sure.
Joe or Amy, would it be appropriate for us to just run through these reports and pass them all at once, or should we break them out?
We'll break out the next 5 together. This we're doing separately though, because it's the audit report from TBC. The next 5 pertain more to the Paris report. So those will be taken together. And then
I mean, I think it's a distinction without a difference, but that's fine. Okay.
All right. So we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor of accepting the draft 2020 financial statements and audit results?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? If none, the 2020 financial statement and audit results are accepted. Thank you to staff and to Teal Becker Tremonte for your good work on that. We'll take the next 5 together: the draft 2020 annual report, procurement report, investment report, mission statement, and performance measures together. Mark, can you? Yes.
I thought you were gonna ask for a motion. I was gonna offer it.
Oh, I will take a motion to put this on the table. Thank you, Bob. Second.
I'll second.
Darius, thank you. All right, Mark, can you go ahead and update us on this?
So the first one being the biggest report of the bunch is the annual report for the Industrial Development Agency. Not much has changed since we discussed at both the Finance and Audit Committee meetings. Just to note, if you haven't already done so, on pages 3 through 6 of the document, please review your information of the Board of Directors listings and make sure that that information is accurate before we do certify with the ABO. Staff is continuing. We're still getting forms in that are needed to be inputted into the specific job numbers and job information pages on the report. We will continue to do that through submission. What we will do is before submission, we will send you the final report as it would be submitted. So you can give a final review before that, but we anticipate to have all that information in and to submit on time by March 31st. One thing on the annual report this year is a separate document that needs to be filed with the ABO, and that is for the Small Business Assistance Program. We have to list all the awards that were listed that the board approved back in October. So that will be part of the submission to the ABO this year, is the annual report. The investment report, simple report. The IDA only has 2 bank accounts, one money market, 1 checking account that is audited as part of the annual financial audit with Teal Becker. And the last report that gets submitted to Paris is the procurement report. And that's any procurement transaction of the agency that is above $5,000 that's listed in that report. Just going through the annual mission statement and performance report that will be attached as part of the annual report. Those numbers that are highlighted in yellow, those are changing as we get job forms in. So those numbers will be finalized as part of the submission with the annual report for Paris. And the last is the 2020 assessment and effectiveness of internal controls. Staff reviewed them. There wasn't real, we're not recommending any changes for 2020 or 2021 with that.
I have a quick question, if I might, and it might be an easy one. It might just information I need for myself. It says here on page 1, number 6, are any authority staff also employed by other governmental agencies? So I would assume that Capitalize Albany is not a governmental agency. Is that correct?
Joe?
No, that's not correct.
Oh, no, I said Joe. I'm sorry.
Oh,
We'll have Joe opine on that.
Yeah, I mean, Capitalize Albany is a local development corporation. It's treated as a governmental body for purposes of the ABO, but it's technically not a governmental body. It's a local development corporation.
so that the staff that serves both of those entities, the answer to that question is we put no, that there aren't any staff working with us that are also working for another governmental agency. And we put no. So that's because Capitalize Albany is a local authority. Hmm?
It's a local development corporation.
Okay, but not a government.
So it's not, for instance, the city of Albany or Albany County or, you know, a what you would characterize typically as a governmental body.
Okay.
And this is something that we've talked directly.
It is
Sorry, Marcia.
separated.
I'm
Sorry, Lloyd, budgetarily, it is a separate entity as well.
Okay. All right.
This is,
That was just basically for my own edification.
yeah, I think that's helpful. And just to know too, we have asked this question and sought guidance from the authority's budget office on this as well to ensure that we're filing it appropriately. And of note, in terms of sort of staff that's listed for 2020, the only staff to the IDA would technically be the named officers of CFO and CEO. The rest of the great faces you see around the table are helping out through a professional service agreement that is reviewed and approved annually with the organization. So just to clarify, too, when you jump down to page 7 of the report that lists the staff, that's the reason for the 2 names versus the full team.
Okay.
Thanks, Lloyd. It's always good to have a reminder of that, though, and how the different agencies function and work together. Appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions on the next 5 reports that we will accept together? If none, we have a motion on the table to accept the draft 2020 annual report, procurement report, investment report, mission statement and performance measures, and the management assessment of the effectiveness of internal controls. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? If none, the motion carries. The next item on the agenda is Capitalize Albany Corporation with matter pertaining to the Liberty Park acquisition. For this measure, I will recuse myself because of my membership on Capitalize Albany Corporation, and staff will also go into the waiting room and you will determine how you're going to manage this agenda item once we are off screen and out of the meeting. Please remember, though, to bring us back because we do have a brief agency update and then there's a CRC meeting afterwards. So we will see you in a bit.
I'll move you over now.
You will be brought back.
Thank you.
We all set?
And Julie, just let me know when we're all set.
Will do.
Thank you.
We're good to go. I'll put you in executive.
Not yet. We need to have a motion before we go into executive session. So
Okay,
we should still be in open session, right?
yes.
Great. So as Susan indicated, she had to recuse herself. So the vice chair has,
This is Mike Bowen. I need to be removed.
yeah, we haven't gone. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. One more, Julie.
Okay,
So any remaining CAC staff on the call? Great. So with Susan recusing, we need a chair to handle the balance or the portion of the meeting dealing with the Liberty Park matter. Unless there's any objection, I would suggest as council that Darius, as treasurer, run this agenda item. Is there any objection?
No.
Hearing
I brought
none.
my
So,
gavel for just such an occasion.
well, that settles the question, Darius. So I appreciate your preparation for this meeting, and I'm going to pass it. I'm going to pass it on to you. The agenda item obviously is Liberty Park. If you want to go into executive session to get the advice of counsel as an update on certain matters, that would be my suggestion. And then we can come out after that executive session and take action with respect to the action item for today's meeting.
I'm just glad I finally get to use my gavel after 22 years. I would call for motion to go into executive session to discuss legal matters pertaining to Liberty Park.
So moved.
Lee and Bob second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So we're going to go into executive session for a few minutes.
I'll move you over.
So everyone needs to hit join. So Julie, just let us know when we're ready to go.
Can I bring everyone back in through the waiting room now?
Not the CAC people. It should just go back to where we were before we went into executive session. So Ms. Pato and the CAC people should stay in the waiting room, but we should have, for instance, any members of the public still on the call. Darius, you're muted.
Most people prefer it that way.
We're out of executive session and we're good to go.
Great.
All right. My name is Darius Shampar. We're back out of executive session. Ended at 1:15. Motion made by Bob Schofield and seconded by Lee Eck, unanimously passed to come back into regular session. We went into executive session to discuss legal matters with counsel pertaining to litigation regarding the Liberty Park matter. As has been previously distributed, we have a resolution in front of us on Liberty Park project matter. It is a resolution approving, pursuant to section 302 of the eminent domain procedure law, the appraisal report prepared for Liberty Park matter. We have previously been provided an appraisal report that set the valuation of the property at issue at $2.65 million. I will read a little bit more of this proposed resolution before asking for a motion. Section 1 is the agency has received a copy of the appraisal. The agency makes the following findings and determinations. By virtue of the act, the agency is invested with all powers necessary and convenient to carry out and effectuate the purposes and provisions of the act and exercise all powers granted to it under the act. And B, the appraisal is accepted and approved pursuant to section 302 of the EDPL, and the acceptance and approval of the appraisal in connection with the acquisition of the land parcels promote and maintain the job opportunities, general prosperity, and economic welfare of the citizens of the city of Albany, New York, and the state of New York, and improve their standard of living. Indeed, it is desirable and in the public interest of the agency to accept and approve the appraisal. So I will ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
Moved.
Lee, second. Do I have a second, Lloyd, or?
Okay.
Yeah, second, Lloyd. Any further discussion on this matter? If council wants to weigh in at this point?
Sure. Thank you, Darius. The appraisal was prepared by Armstrong Appraisals. The amount is $2,650,000. It's an important part of the process of commencing and continuing the eminent domain proceeding. And with that, I'll open it up for any comments or questions.
Anybody? Yeah, this has been covered fairly extensively, mostly in executive sessions with the board over the past several weeks and months. This is not a step that we take lightly, but it's a step that we believe is necessary for future economic development in the city of Albany. Certainly in this part of our city that has been neglected, and many attempts and fits and starts have occurred to try and bring it back. But this is a crucial step that I believe in moving our city forward. So with that, if there's no other questions or comments or anything, I call for a vote. All those in favor of this resolution that approving pursuant to section 302 of the eminent domain procedure law, the appraisal report prepared for Liberty Park matter, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I believe that was unanimous. Any nay votes? Okay. So we will be moving forward with the appraisal. And with that, I think we can come back into regular session with staff.
Agreed.
For now.
So Julie, you can bring everyone back in from the breakout room. And Darius will pass his gavel on to Susan.
Hi, everybody.
Susan, I pass my gavel back to you.
Thank you, Darius. Are all of the staff back on as well? Sarah,
Yes.
Looks like we have
Tom,
everybody.
Andy. Okay, great. All right, so that was the last item under new business. If there's no further new business, we will move into other business for an agency update. Sarah?
Great. I have a couple of things under agency update. First, some bittersweet news. I'd just like to let the board know, since Tracy was unable to be here today, to share the news that Amy Levine is moving on from the city of Albany, pursuing new opportunities. So this is going to be her last board meeting with us as agency counsel. I'm not going to put her on the spot to make a speech or anything, but just to
I was saying,
inform the
sorry to
board.
see her go. Has a lot of experience in these matters, so, and is going to a good place.
Not the good
Congratulations,
place,
Amy.
a good place. Just for the record.
Good luck on your next endeavor, Amy.
Thank you. I'll still be in Albany, by the way, so I imagine that I'll run into some of you, from time to time.
Great. You will be greatly missed here for sure. All right. And then moving on from that, onto just purely good news, not bittersweet news. Just wanted to touch on a couple of things that you may have seen recently, just overall economic development wise, and also just periodic updates on Capitalize Albany activity. You may have seen the recent news. The mayor launched the Restart Albany campaign related to the federal funding that is out there. The city is going to be moving through that effort, looking to determine how to equitably and prudently use those funds. That really does signal the restart of many things here in Albany. We are looking forward to ongoing economic news here that is positive. As I mentioned during the financial report, we anticipate a number of project closings upcoming and those projects getting underway. We also have activity picking up from an application standpoint. So the agency will start to see a number of new applications moving through, and Andy's doing a great job of working with those potential applicants to get them over the finish line to have manageable applications in front of the board. And then finally, the Albany Skyway is under construction. That is moving forward. That has been a massive undertaking from the time that it was identified in the Impact Downtown Albany strategy, which the IDA generously supported way back in 2013, 14, 15, all the way through to today. It is happening, and that is moving forward. We're looking forward to that catalyzing additional activity throughout Albany, but particularly in downtown Arbor Hill and the Warehouse District, directly adjacent to the Skyway. So just a couple of overall economic development activity notes there for the group under agency update.
Thank you, Sarah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Darius.
I was going to add the recent passage of the COVID relief bill at the federal level is going to be a huge bit of assistance for the city. But one thing that I think everyone should be aware of is that there seems to be wide latitude for the city to use this money for economic development. How, what the regulations are and how it actually manifests itself, can't quite be sure yet, but I'm going to think that Capitalize for sure, but certainly other economic development components of the city are going to be heavily involved, I think, with figuring out where this money is going to get utilized best and where it should be directed. Just something for everyone to be aware of.
Great, thank you. Any other comments under agency update? If not, I will move to our compliance update. Andy, are you gonna get us started with that?
Do you
Go
want
ahead,
to
Sarah.
start? Either way, Andy, why don't you go ahead and start, and I'll catch anything that's not there.
Sure. Staff is working through the finalization of the annual report. There have been no major or substantial changes since we last dove into that report at Finance and Audit. There are just a couple outstanding IDA job forms for bonds. We do have in all the straight lease jobs reporting that we expect to get in. And we're also just chasing down a couple ST 340s and NYS 45s.
Thank you, Andy. Any questions or comments on our compliance update? Sarah, were you gonna?
Sure, and I'm freezing a little bit, so sorry if you can't hear me well. But I did want to touch on just a couple of quick items. First is, Bob, as you noted early in the meeting, we are doing an internal audit of the project index that's up on the website, and we'll get that taken care of. There were a couple of projects that had been inadvertently left off of that. I do want to note that all of those materials can be found in other portions of the website, just not in that sort of nice, neat little bundle that's there. But that is something that that the team is working through now to get corrected. We also are very close to wrapping up our collection of the fiduciary responsibility forms, the ethics policy acknowledgements, and the confidential board evaluation forms as well. So we're close to 100% on that. I expect to have that closed out this week. And just a reminder that we have moved our annual internal board training provided by Hodgson Russ to one of our April meetings. We'll get that notification back out with the materials as well. So please note that that is upcoming in April.
Thank you, Sarah. Any further comments or questions on our compliance update or other business? If none, we will again thank Amy for all of her good work. We will really miss you here at the IDA, and good luck. And we'll call for an adjournment of the meeting.
So moved.
Darius, do we have a second?
Second?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 1:29 p.m.
Please don't
Thank
forget
you,
that we do have a
everybody.
CRC meeting, so stick around.
Okay, are we going to do that on the same Zoom?
We'll just need to stop the live streaming.